Hello everybody, 64 Studios 101.
And Hoofin12 here with a new kind of video.
A pretty special video because Chef Meet and Greet, the animated series, turns 5 years old on the day this is being released.
Yes, May 7th, 2018. No, 2019.
Yep, 2019.
The years go by so fast, it's hard for me to keep track of them.
The character of Chef Meet and Greet has been around since 2013.
A crude version of the character has been around since, probably 2012.
Yes.
The character of Chef Meet and Greet as we know him today has been around 2013.
When I was in lower school.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna say exactly how old I am.
But he was young.
Too young.
Too young to actually write a good comic series.
It holds up, better than you might expect.
Yeah, it holds up.
Considering how old it is.
Yeah, because it began as a comic series and it holds up pretty badly, but still not as badly as you'd expect.
Mm-hmm. So I guess we should because we're gonna talk a lot about the character of Chef Meet and Greet and the importance of him for the channel,
Yes.
Which sounds kind of ridiculous, but basically this is just an extravaganza celebrating 5 years of the animated series. Basically, yeah.
So we don't remember exactly when the Chef Meet and Greet originated. We think it was sometime between late 2011 and late 2012.
Yeah, I'd have to guess 2012 but that's really there's no evidence for that. That's just my
But that was
guess.
not the Chef Meet and Greet as we know him today. So basically, what it was is we wrote it. Was it you who wrote it?
He
wrote this joke, this joking comic, and it was sort of a parody of how fast food restaurants market all market all this junk as if it's super incredible and exciting. So it's him advertising this great thing called the Appleberry.
Apples, ham, strawberries, meat sauce. I know what you're thinking. Strawberries?
Well, what you're probably thinking is, I know nothing about Chef Meet and Greet or Appleberries. I'm assuming you've seen any episode of the animated series. Well, certain episodes of the animated series, you're probably thinking, since when do Appleberries have strawberries? And the answer is, for a comic.
Yeah, that's where the berry, an appleberry, comes from.
Right, yeah.
But yeah, basically, if you don't know, an appleberry is an apple, ham, and meat sauce.
Yeah, according to the animated series, to Chef Meet and Greet, the comic and the animated series is a very disgusting meat sauce. So I don't think that was quite made clear in that early comic.
Yeah. And everyone in the city of Delishopolis, where of course all the characters live, everyone absolutely loves the appleberry for some reason.
No, I don't think Delishopolis was a thing in your original.
I mean, I guess everyone loves certain fast food items that some would consider disgusting also.
Right, so anyway, the next step after I guess we should talk about the next step after that comic.
Well, I guess, should we jump ahead and talk about when he becomes a superhero?
That's pretty much what there is next.
Yeah, just making sure. It's worth mentioning that for the Meet and Greet restaurant, which is what he advertised for, what he was advertising for in the joke comic that I made.
Yeah.
We also came up with a bunch of other random chefs, including I have a theory that a couple of them might have been predecessors to our more recent creation, Chef Clown Man. But more on that later.
Yeah, more on that later.
So, we believe January 17th, 2013, I decided, because, I've always been a fan of superhero comic books, I decided I was going to write a superhero comic. When I was, it was the middle of the day in school.
Right,
so
it was art class, and you said...
I don't know, I can't remember anymore.
Right, I feel like
maybe.
I feel like if I recall what you said back then, I was in, 7th grade back then, so I don't know if my memory is too great,
but, Chef Meet and Greet, I already had that character created, I wasn't feeling creative enough to create a new character, so I just decided to take an old character that I had already created and just use him and turn him into a superhero. So that's why this sort of strange chef who always smiles and has spiky hair is a superhero. That's why he's... Yeah.
Yeah, and so he made this comic. It was just one page long, though with very small panels, called The Great Appleberry Riot. And it was...
Of course, you would know that you probably don't know, but the first animated episode is based on that.
Yeah, it's the same basic story, and believe it or not, the comic is probably even worse than the animated version.
Ouch, that's true, though. He's right. He's right. These days, the comic is so faded that you can hardly read it. I'll probably, we have it scanned onto the computer here,
Yeah.
so we'll probably like put it in when we're editing this. You'll probably be seeing it right now.
Yeah, but you will probably won't be able to read it because it's terrible quality. No, because
it is
it's all
terrible
very,
quality,
yeah, right,
though.
Well, the scan is okay quality.
Oh, yeah.
But it's the comic is it's very faded and.
It's worth mentioning, I guess, the other meet and greet characters, how they sort of came about. Also,
yeah.
I created all of them too. Were you saying something?
I was just gonna mention how the art in the Great Upper Right is very crude. They look like they have Lego hands. They look like they're about 3 feet tall.
True, it actually took me a pretty good amount of time to get the basic art style that you see in the animated series, and even then, Who Found 12 has changed some of it.
I've adapted some things. The way their body connects to their head is slightly different. I believe.
Yeah, it's.
And not to mention that I add a lot of background detail that wasn't in the original stuff.
Oh yeah, it's definitely true.
The background detail was pretty terrible in the really animated series, but it's still better than the comics were.
So, but I guess we should talk about the characters and where they came from, besides Chef Meet and Greet, which we already sort of.
Yeah, now probably be let's give the mic mostly to you because I don't know very much about this.
So we're gonna start with. Of course start with. I might even get into some of the more obscure characters, but maybe later on we'll see.
Yeah.
First of all, Mr. Black, who of course is Chef Meet and Greet's arch rival,
right.
his arch enemy. That's how it was intended to be, and he of course first appears in the Great Appleberry Riot. He's a Lex Luthor ripoff.
Yeah.
That's all there is to it.
Yeah, that's pretty much
He's
all.
bald. He's a scientist. He's a lot of times wears a suit and tie.
Yeah, he has a laboratory that he...
Black Labs. I did not actually ever consider that someone could think of a black lab, like a dog, when I first came up with it.
I remember when I first read the comic, I was like, oh, that's so clever. It's such a great pun, but it turned out that was not intentional.
Yeah. Pretty great. Who else is there? I guess in issue 2 versus Lamite, Officer Awesomeness, or also episode 2, Officer Awesomeness is introduced.
Yeah.
John Awesomeness.
It's a sort of name that only an elementary school boy could ever come up with. Officer Awesomeness.
Yes. Can't wait for the gritty, action movie that they'll eventually make where
right.
it's called Officer Awesome Chev.
Right, because it's
Anyone remember Fan 4 Stick?
Well,
where they were gonna call it Dr. Doom Chev.
Yeah,
but that's kind of off topic.
Yeah.
I just think that's funny.
Yeah. It is kind of funny. It's about the funniest thing that's related to... It's about the most entertaining thing that's related to Fan 4 Stick that there is.
But anyway... Officer Awesomeness, I feel like... If I had to guess, I don't really remember creating him as much. I guess, of course, a lot of heroes sort of have a sort of sidekick, and Awesomeness is sort of like that in some ways.
Yeah, and I wonder, I can't help but wonder since growing into the comic whether having a helper who's from the police station might be influenced by Commissioner Gordon.
Oh, no, I definitely think it was. I can't really remember, but that just makes a lot of sense. Oh, and side note, with Mr. Black being influenced by Lex Luthor in some issues and stories and stuff, he actually has direct lines from Lex Luthor. In episode 100, he's like, here's another, or in episode 99, he's like, here's another surprise for you, Chef.
Here's another surprise for you, Chef.
And that's, I think Lex Luthor in this old 1940s comic says to Superman, here's another surprise for you, Man of Steel.
Nice.
Both times they're revealing that they're the mastermind behind something really big.
Yeah.
But anyway... Yeah, Awesomeness. Also, of course, there's the running joke with him about where he's always like, why won't you call me Chief?
Officer Awesomeness. Why won't you call me Chief?
Because Chef Mean Green, even after he becomes Chief, always calls Awesomeness Officer Awesomeness.
Yeah, I guess we thought it was pretty hilarious back in 2013.
Yeah, it's really... I'm not sure why that's there, but it is. Comic relief. And then I guess there's the Meat, also in issue 2, in episode 2, and the Meat Minions.
Yeah. Who weren't named yet as of the comic. They were named... You came up with the name a bit later, not too long.
I mean... I think I was just playing off of the whole meat theme of, meet and greet.
Right, yeah.
I really don't remember.
Plus, you liked burgers, so...
Yeah. I still do. I don't really remember all that much, how it was created besides that. Yeah, I don't know. Let's see. There's also, I guess, going on to episode 4/issue 4, because most of the episodes coincide with the issue
Not
numbers.
all of them, but the vast majority of them.
So, next is the Cow's Crimes, originally titled The Evil Cow Crimes.
It ended up being titled.
Yeah,
so you're going to title
yeah. That
it.
was like before I finished it. I was gonna title it that. So the cow. Oh, it's another character. Like I don't really know where he's from. I guess he's sort of based on a sort of gentleman thief. He reminds me sort of the penguin in some ways. How in a weird way, since he's a cow, he's almost like a bit dapper and everything. He's polite and proper.
Yeah, it's like the main reason the cow is just to continue the whole meat/beef theme of this.
Yeah, basically. Probably that's where I got it.
have no idea whether he was based it on the Chick-fil-A cow, though he looked an awful lot like it.
I wouldn't be surprised.
But we have no evidence of it. We no proof of it.
I have a friend, I still know him actually, but he used to call the cow the potato penguin as a joke.
His body kind of looks like a potato, especially because his comics are written just with graphite pencils, so they're in black and white, so especially when it's in black and white, it does very much look like a potato, his body does.
And I feel like the sort of weird snout thing that he has is what I thought of as a penguin.
Yeah, it's certainly like, I mean, it looks, if it has to be something, it looks a bit more like a dog, I guess.
Yeah.
It probably looks more like a penguin than it looks like a cow.
Yeah, that's true. But anyway, the cow is still one of my favorite characters in some ways.
For the longest time, we thought it was just like the funniest thing ever.
I mean, you've got to admit that was not that's not bad for a fourth.
True, like a big amount, like a large amount of his lines in the animated series are directly taken from the comics because they're that great. Well,
there's this one time,
great by the standard of the animated series.
There's this one line that we never got to adapt from the cow, which I guess is getting into the animated series more, but I don't want to forget about it.
Yeah.
Where he says in, I think, Voyage of Evil Part 1, Chef Meet and Greet, we meet. I mean meat again, and the first time he says meat, it's spelled M-E-A-T.
Right.
The second time he spelled, I'll put this up on the screen. The second time he says it, it's spelled M-E-E-T.
Yeah, and unfortunately you can't really translate that into voice as my brother just proved a few seconds ago, so we couldn't adapt that in an animated series.
But anyway, yeah, the cow is great. The cow is not a monster, he is awesome, as he says.
Mm-hmm.
He is kind of a monster, but anyway, he's...
But less so than one might expect one of the villains to be.
And then next is, let me think, Versus the Zombies is, I mean, I don't know if we really have to mention much of this stuff. I feel like the next major character maybe is Wolfwoman, unless I'm forgetting someone. Oh.
Chef Clown Man?
Oh, yeah. My gosh. Also, one of the things that never got adapted into the animated series was this story called Happy Birthday Creator.
Oh, yeah?
Which was, I think it was created on my birthday.
Yeah.
Which I created for my birthday.
Basically, all the meet and greet characters wishing him a happy birthday.
Yeah. It was based on this, I think, this YouTuber, Lego Piano Man, made this thing of, like, Eminem Twins was another Lego YouTuber, and he made a birthday video for Eminem Twins.
Yeah.
Which, it sounds really random, but that, like, the plot of Happy Birthday Creator, which you can even read on the Chef Clown Man site, is just taken from that Lego Piano Man video.
Yeah.
Look it up, you'll see it. Maybe I'll even add a link in the description.
And then after that was probably the worst Chef Meet and Greet story ever, but also possibly one of the most important ones, Chef Meet and Greet versus Chef Clown Man.
Introduces Chef Clown Man, as the name suggests, Dr. Daddy, and John
Yeah, though neither of the last two were named.
Yeah, that came in like a little novelization I wrote later.
Yeah, their names.
By novelization, I mean like a couple paragraphs.
Yeah.
But
anyway, in Chef Meet and Greet versus Chef Clown Man, it's basically just Clown Man comes over, I mean, Clown, like Dr. Daddy accident. No, Johnson uncharacteristically has a teleport gun that he uses to get Clown Man to meet and greet, and then they have a fight, and that's about it. Yeah, that's about it. But
Dr. Daddy, bring teleports.
Yeah, but it's important for introducing the characters that make up our series, our channel's biggest series right now. So there's that going for it. And by the way, also, interestingly enough, I believe one of the introduced Chef Meet and Greet says on the back, Chef Meet and Greet spinoff coming soon. Chef Clown Man.
You should watch the animated episode of that also to see how much Clown Man and Johnson have changed. And I guess Dr. Daddy.
Right.
Oh, and Jack Jackson in the animated series. He's a sort of minor Chef Clown Man character.
Yeah.
He was a reporter, basically.
Right.
So now I think Wolfwoman.
Yeah.
Who is a Catwoman ripoff in every way.
Enough.
In every way. I don't think someone as young as I was really thought of the fact that female representation exists.
Yeah.
And should exist.
Right, and I feel like you kind of didn't quite know how to write female characters back then. Like, you didn't quite, like, you know, the obvious way to write them is just to write them as characters, but when you're an elementary school boy, it's hard to grasp the concept that women aren't, like, totally different from men in every single way.
I'm just kidding.
Yeah, but you know, when you're when you're a boy that age, like, you don't quite get how things work.
It's kind of true, sadly. But that's just how life goes. So misogyny.
Yeah, so she was like the only female character and made a great
basically the only one at all in any way. We need to like improve on that in Clown Man. Honestly,
yeah, we do.
But it's still Gretchen Miller in Clown Man is still a better character than Wolfwoman.
Like Wolfwoman always seemed to just be the one, like your last resort. Like he was never
basically.
Like he never really cared about her as he cared about the other people. Like which is sort of where the joke comes from. In hindsight, the joke in Voice of Evil and the animated version, not the comic, could sort of be sexist when the police guy is talking about like the infamous Harry Black and the horrible cow and the also bad Wolfwoman. The joke was supposed to just be that Wolfwoman barely ever did anything in the animated series or in the comics.
Yeah, there is actually another comic that wasn't animated with Wolfwoman called Sad New Year,
which was a New Year's special.
Wolfwoman uses poison perfume in that.
Yeah.
That's very much a stereotype, obviously. So it's kind of it was a New Year's special. I think you said that, but
right, and that's why we didn't end up adapting it because it didn't happen to be near New Year's when it came up.
But basically, it's not such a bad thing in some ways that it wasn't adapted.
Yeah.
Because poison perfume is maybe not the greatest idea. So also, who else is there? We have Wolfwoman. I might wait until later to get into some less major characters if I even get into
it.
By the way, side note, Meet and Greet I think is based also a bit on the Krusty Krab in SpongeBob.
Yeah, I'd say.
The Appleberry, the Krabby Patty. I mean,
it even has a secret formula. The Appleberry does. It's not introduced until a bit later.
Basically, everything I do creatively is based on SpongeBob to some extent. I've just learned to accept that now. Yeah. So, let me think. Oh, the old guide.
What about Josh Johnson?
Oh, Josh Johnson. That was named after,
in the animated series, for reasons I'm not quite sure about, I decided to sort of turn him into a comic relief character on and off. But I guess the main reason for that is I had noticed that the comics didn't really have any characters, so I decided to maybe add a little bit to him.
I think he's named after a relative, his first name.
Yeah, whose name's Josh.
Yeah, so there's that.
His name isn't Johnson. His last name isn't Johnson, but it's actually pretty similar to Johnson.
Yeah. So Josh Johnson, I'm trying to think, because I guess he was just based on just stereotypical secret agent characters. Like, I don't know if I specifically had someone like James Bond in mind, but just that sort of idea.
Yeah.
In some ways.
Mm-hmm.
I do like how he always wears sunglasses.
Yeah!
Like how Chef Mean Greet, in the animated series, he's never seen not smiling.
Yeah, I used to, in some of the earlier comics, he's seen not smiling, but after... after I want to say 40s or something issues, which sounds like a lot, but still after maybe that many issues, you could pretty much abandon the whole. But maybe it was more like 50-something issues because I feel like the Christmas Caper was the last time. So,
maybe I can't remember.
After that,
you're probably right.
Been smiling.
So I think now I can move on to the Old God, which the end is the story we're on, which also is the one where I believe. What's his name? The meat sort of gets a redesign.
Yeah.
Meat, colloquially known as the burger meat by us. Because he has a burger for a head.
Yeah.
And originally in the comic he says, I, the meat, am invincible, and that's why he survived the earlier comic where he was killed off. The Return of the Cow. He was invincible in the comic, I guess. Which explains why he's survived so much.
Yeah.
But in the animated series... We just said that he took a body from a meat minion.
And from
one of his goons. Which makes a bit more sense.
It still makes no sense. But
he still says, I'm invincible, but then Chef Mean Greet immediately is like, no, you're not.
How are you really alive?
You foiled my every plan, and I survived. You defeat me multiple times, and I survived. Now, I give you my greatest secret. I, the meat, am invincible. No, you're not. How are you really alive?
That's actually over there, the voice actor for Chef
Yeah,
Meet and
that's
Greet.
me.
That's pretty amazing.
I am a much better voice actor than I was back then, but it's still me.
So, then, I guess the old god
Yeah.
is basically just created to be mysterious.
Yeah.
The last line in the end where the chef says, I guess we'll never know.
But what did he want? I guess we'll never know.
Where he's talking about the old god's plan was basically a reference to this Batman comic, Ghost of the Killer Skies, by the great Denny O'Neil and Neil Adams, some of my favorite comic book people of all time. But anyway, Batman says, I guess I'll never know at the end, and I just, when I was, my voters go self-decided, it would be a good idea, I guess, to just rip off of that. So yeah, the old god is basically the whole point of him was to be mysterious. I think I kind of lost sight of that after a while.
Pretty much after his first appearance.
Yeah.
Although you tried to bring it back on and off.
Yeah, like in Darkness of the Matter.
Anyway, there are a few influences for the old god though, aren't there?
Probably.
Most obviously, there's this Doctor Who episode, The Rings of Akaton, and there's this old ancient monster there that's called it's like this. I don't remember exactly. Was it like a sun or something?
Yeah, it's like somehow a sun or something.
But it's called the Old God of Akaton or something, and
I think I didn't even realize it at the time, but I think that's where I got the name.
I know you mentioned some other influences that the Old God had.
I'm trying to think, because, yeah, I feel like there probably are some other influences.
But you can't think of
I'm
it.
afraid not.
Oh well.
He's just a mysterious guy. And then, of course, in the origin of the old god, in the spin-off Origins series that we did, we basically revealed that the old god's plan was to take over the
world.
Well, in the animation, it's to take over the universe.
Yeah, but in the comic when he originally wrote it
better.
was to take over the world.
That's like lackluster. I kind of liked that.
Yeah,
we don't know what he's doing.
Pinky in the Brain. It's like a comedy villain plan. That's not.
Yeah.
That's not like what an old ancient mysterious villain would do.
It was kind of a mistake to reveal his origin in hindsight.
Yeah, he's really Zeus and then the old god, paradoxically enough, the old god from the future, went and got Zeus from the past and turned him into the old god.
I kind of think I was inspired by some of the scripts in Doctor Who written by the showrunner at the time when I wrote it, Stephen Moffat.
Yeah, which I don't think we even liked him, so I don't know why he was such a great influence.
Who knows?
Yeah, but as you might know, we used to be really into Doctor Who. That's actually where my YouTube name comes from, WhoFan12, because I used to really love Doctor Who.
Wasn't 2012 when you got really into it?
Yeah, that's when I started watching Doctor Who, and that's where the 12 comes from. The more you know.
Exactly. So, okay, I guess, who else is there? I think the old god, we have covered him about as well as I can from memory.
Yeah.
Who else is there?
I think King Vampire is the next one.
In fact, back. And Chef.
Yeah.
So, King of Vampire is, of course, a great, kind of unoriginal character. His inspirations are, of course, Dracula.
Obviously.
Probably, I don't know if I knew about the Spider-Man villain Morbius, who's a vampire also, so I don't know about him, but there's... What?
Never mind.
There's this Lego set, there's this Lego theme called Lego Monster Fighters, and the big baddie of the theme was called Lord Vampire. I think it was spelled with a Y instead of an I, but that's where I got the name King Vampire. I just changed it a bit and made King Vampire into the villain. And he's also, oddly enough, the storyline especially is based on Nightfall, the Batman story where Bane famously breaks Batman's back. So King Vampire, in a way, is sort of the bane of... That's why episodes 39 and 40 are called Chef Fall.
Yeah.
I guess also, since the meat paradox is around this time, it might be worth it to mention...
But one more thing. I just get... Oh, wait. Oh, sorry.
Did you
I was going to mention one last thing about King of Vampires is his quote-unquote Transylvanian accent, which is basically just him saying P instead of W's. That was not in the comics. But it was my brother's idea. He suggested that I may do it for the animated series.
I feel bad now.
It's fine.
It's not meant to be offensive.
Yeah, I don't think there are too many Transylvanians who are offended that are watching.
Hopefully
this.
not. So, anyway, the meat paradox, I feel like, was around this time in the animated series. That wasn't part of the main series. It was a sort of separate comic, Chef Meet and Greet comic that I made, where it introduces the Man of Shadow, which is why I'm bringing it up. The animated version and the original version, I'm the one who saves everyone.
Yeah, not the Man of Shadow.
The Man of Shadow saves the day. It's me. We were like, we're not doing this. So,
yeah, and also the original version probably makes even less sense than the animated version, which already makes like no sense.
I love
at
it,
all.
but yeah. But the Man of Shadow.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say the thing is, like in the original comic, Chefball came directly after Blackback. There was nothing in between them. That was.
Yep. Yeah. So King Vampire, or not King Vampire, gosh. Everyone's favorite character.
The Man of Shadow?
The Man of Shadow. I get spoilers, he's actually Benedict Clownman.
Chef Clownman's brother.
Originally he was going to be Chef Clownman, like from a jaded version of Chef Clownman from the far future.
Which of course, he was like, my brother realized, no, that's a terrible idea.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Imagine. Chef Clownman is the Man of Shadow.
So
Chef Clownman is
he's also based on a character that my dad and some of his childhood friends came up with when they were young, called the Man of Shadow, but he was like just a villain in like he was a horrible villain, so not quite the same, but his design is also based on that. So yeah, Man of Shadow. Who else is there? Man of Shadow. Is Mastermind the next? Or is
Mastermind. Mastermind is the next.
Okay, so Mastermind is based on one of my favorite comic book series of all time, the Doom Patrol. The villain, one of the big villains in it is this group, the Brotherhood of Evil, and the Brain is the leader of the Brotherhood of Evil. He's a disembodied brain who's basically in, I guess, essentially not a jar, but, you know, he's sort of an immobile thing in a canister, sort of, I guess. That's a bad description. I'll probably put a picture of him up. Yeah. But that's basically where Mastermind came from, because he's just a brain.
Yeah.
In a suit.
Yeah, even though this is... Like, I feel like some of his later story lines might be a bit inspired by Morbius and Doctor Who, but I'm not totally
sort
sure.
of, like where he gets new suits and like...
Right, he wants like, yeah.
Oh.
Like a body. Wait, there's one comic where he wanted a body, which is basically the plot of this Doctor Who story, The Brain of Morbius, which is about this disembodied brain that wants a body.
Yes. That one, of course, never actually became an episode of the animated series because we stopped before that.
Yeah. For better or for worse. Probably for better, but who knows.
So, I guess it would feel wrong not to mention, since we mentioned Man of Shadow, Dr. Devil, originally called Dr. Eyes, or Dr. Danger, or Dr. Deadly, or something, I don't know. I think all of those at some point.
Yeah.
But Dr. Devil is the best of all of them. He's based on this Lego Agents villain, Spyclops, who has 4 eyes like him.
Oh, yeah.
He's basically like the Man of Shadow's archenemy, I guess, but also the archenemy of, like, I had a couple other superheroes besides Meet and Greet who we won't really get into, but basically I sorted a group like the Avengers or the Justice League, and he was the one who fought them.
Fought it.
Yeah, EVIL, he runs like the evil organization.
You're supposed to be like the ultimate evil organization.
Yeah, basically.
And Dr. Devil's like super powerful and super smart.
Which the episode where he first appears is based on one of those.
Yeah. And also, by the way, it's interesting.
It's based on. Yeah,
based on the way it's interesting. The way it's a bit different. The way the original story works, if I recall, is it has a lot of it doesn't. It's almost like a mix of 2 different stories.
Yeah.
Right. Well, the animated version is like a mix of 2 different comic stories that my brother wrote. One was like a story which involved Chef Meet and Greet and Dr. Devil. And
it was called Chef Meet and Greet meets Dr. Devil.
Even though they never actually meet.
They don't meet. The other one was a challenge for a superhero.
Which, of course, is where we got the name.
Yep. And in that one, he joins the Man of Shadow and a bunch of other superheroes, including Astro Man and Supernova, and Ultraman, basically a bunch of uncreative names that weren't really any characters.
Right.
To fight EVIL, which consisted mainly in this story of Mr. Black, the cow, this villain, this like half cyborg villain, Ultramaniac, and then this sort of Davros-like villain, the troll.
Shit.
Not an internet troll, like a mythological troll.
Yeah.
But we don't have the troll or Ultramaniac in the animation.
Yeah. Another thing related to Dr. Devil is of course his origin is sort of revealed in the story, the Black Case, where what it is, and the way. Well, you probably don't know it at all, but if you do know it, what it is basically Benedict Clownman works with James W. Devil. James W. Devil turns corrupt, so Benedict Clownman rashly shoves him into this acid that only hurts your hair, your teeth, and your eyes for reasons, and Dr. Devil was born. That's basically the origin. But then in the comic, it was a lot different. So with this time is like, Benedict Clownman and Chef Clownman are on a hike, and Chef Clownman throws rocks at Dr. Devil's eyes, which
just because he's dumb, apparently.
Yeah, and somehow that leads to him to become Dr. Devil, and somehow Benedict Clownman thinks that makes it his fault because he brought Chef Clownman along.
It's really stupid. It's worth mentioning that in a later, completely unrelated comic, I did do the origin that we ended up using in the animation.
Yeah, it wasn't the Chef Me and Greek comic. It was another comic he made.
But anyway, Dr. Devil. Who else is there? I guess there's Mark Harrison.
Oh, yeah.
Who is just kind of there.
Yeah, he's a police officer. He's
He's the Chief O'Hara of Chef Meeting.
I
don't know.
Except less interesting and fun.
Yeah, exactly. But
he's just there. That's about it.
Yeah.
He mostly just exists so that the monster story arc can happen.
Yeah, where if you don't know what that is, you gotta watch all 120 episodes. No,
yeah.
It's like episodes, 80 something to 100.
Yeah.
I don't know exactly what.
Me neither.
I guess if you're being technical, you could count Mr. Hypno or the Evil Rapper.
Yeah.
As the start of it.
Definitely makes most sense if you watch the Evil Rapper.
Yeah, you would need to, But anyway, he's not all that interesting, so I don't have much to say about him.
Yeah.
But I guess I should also mention Arnold Mitchell, who's kind of a cliche, because he only appears, I think, in one of the animated episodes.
Right, he appeared in a few comics.
Yeah. He was sort of the idea of friend turned enemy, which I feel like is not a new idea at all.
Right. And he likes to build robots.
Yeah. Actually, in later issues, I made it so, his sort of supervillain name was the Robot Master, which already is a Spider-Man villain. But I guess I just, I knew about the Spider-Man villain, but I don't think I remembered that it was also a Spider-Man villain.
Nice!
So, yeah. It's pretty obscure, though, so.
Yeah.
Man. Are there any other characters I'm missing?
I don't believe so.
Alright. So, there is still a lot that we could talk about relating to this stuff, though.
Yeah.
So, I think we could probably maybe shift gears a bit and go a bit more into the animated series now.
Yeah.
So, I guess we could start sort of with talking about
the making of.
Yeah, the making of, and maybe how we started also.
Okay, so basically the way it started. Well, my first journey into the world of animation. Well, first off, when my dad was younger, he had made some stop motion animated videos, and including one really short cell animation that was a few frames long, and that really interested me a lot. And I was inspired by that. So I had back when I was in 8th grade, I had this project where I had to make a video on this book, The House on Mango Street, and I was like, well, I'll make it as an animated video, just for the heck of it. So
got projector slides.
Yeah, maybe got some projector
Sharpies.
Yeah, Sharpies. There were no paint pins yet. I just used normal Sharpies, which were totally see-through. I still use them in my animations for see-through things. And back then, everything was drawn in Sharpie. Yeah. The backgrounds were drawn terribly. Everything was drawn terribly, and it was edited terribly. And you saw the side of the table all the time. It was pretty bad, but it was still kind of impressive for, just a 14-year-old boy who had no background in animation. Anyway, after that I was like, my brother's been making Chef Meanery has been making Chef Meanery comics for more than a year. It would be fun to make that into an animation, so I decided to make that into an animation.
Which happened after we found out about the paint pins.
Yeah, we got paint pins for that.
Like, Chef Meanery has to wear white. There's a lot of
the main reason we decided
stuff.
to get paint pins was we decided he has to... Well, obviously, Chef Meanery has to wear white, and there's a lot of white in Chef Meanery.
It's worth mentioning, I think, that the reason in the first, 2 episodes the characters have orange
skin... Yeah, I didn't have a peach paint pin yet. Yeah. Which is why they have orange transparent skin in the first few episodes, and white, and throughout pretty much the rest of the series. Chef Meanery's face has this weird orangish tint to it. Anyway, because of the... the Green Apple Riot was pretty terrible in the animated version. First off, for some reason, I didn't tape... I forgot to tape the background... I forgot to tape the background to the table, and also... So the way it works is I have this camera on an animation table, and since in the animation table has been improved so that there's a compartment that keeps the camera in place, so back then that wasn't there, so I literally had to tape the camera there, but I didn't tape the camera for the Green Apple Riot, which led to it be really shaky, and I somehow didn't know that you could zoom in on the camera, so I didn't zoom in on the camera, which means that you see the edges of the table, a lot. and it just looks terrible, and also I was a pretty awful actor back then. Well, I was an awful actor as it was, but it was improvised. I wasn't even looking at the comic. I pretty much was doing it from memory. I pretty much was both filming and voicing from memory, and I rarely even prepared myself for the dialogue. I pretty much made up the dialogue on the spot while I was recording, which led it to be even worse. In the best case scenario, if I actually took the prior steps I needed to take, it would be pretty bad. But because I didn't take any of those steps, it was just terrible.
Ha ha ha! He'll never know I stole them.
And I could literally make multiple episodes a day sometimes, which tells you how hard I was willing to work on it. Anything.
It is worth mentioning, though, that stuff did start to improve a bit over time.
Oh yeah, it did. For one thing, I started actually taping down the background on the camera. The paintings got to be better. The frame rate was still too slow even at the end of the series, but it got faster. So when I started the series, literally everything was 5 frames a second, which is just a terrible frame rate.
That's such a bad frame rate.
It's terrible. I still do that for talking, but it's not really animation for that.
Yeah.
But then I sort of improved it to 6 frames a second, and
so much better.
Yeah, and then over time, I made things progressively better and better to the point where by the end of it, there were still some things that were too slow, but most things were probably between 7 and 15 frames a second, which not all that stuff is great, but it was a big improvement over 5 frames a second.
12 frames per second is generally considered sort of acceptable enough.
Right.
So, not that everyone is clamoring to use it, but...
Yeah, you're right, but that's acceptable enough. And then, so by the end of the series, it's a lot better, and by the end of the series, I actually had the brilliant realization that if there is something hard to draw, I should probably actually try to draw it. Well, I don't know if I actually had that realization too much. I still took a lot of shortcuts, but I took slightly fewer shortcuts by the end of the series than I did at the beginning, which I guess is progress.
Yeah, it definitely did get better.
Yeah. Another thing worth noting is that Chef Meanery, the animated series, with the narrator and all, I almost had the narrator, of course, he wasn't in the comics. He was obviously, since you can't narrate something without voice. Yeah. He was introduced in the series, and obviously he was based very heavily on the Batman narrator. And in fact,
in the 60s.
Yeah, the Batman narrator from the 1966 show.
Great show. I still love
it. But anyway, the early episodes, in a way, were almost presented as a parody of the show, where the narrator was constantly talking. The chef would always be introduced as spoiling superhero Chef Meanery, and of course we had those holy hunger and so far we have seen. Anyway, I sort of made that the whole Batman thing was toned down throughout the episodes. I never made a conscious choice to do it less. I just sort of ended up toning it down unconsciously. But the cliffhangers and the so far we have seen sequences remain throughout the series.
Yeah.
Holy ho! How will the chef get out of this one? It doesn't look like he has good chances of escaping. Will he become a wolf's chew toy? And what about Wolf Woman and her ninjas? What do they plan? And will the chef be able to stop them? Find out next time. Same meat site, same meat channel.
And I think that I still kind of enjoy those quite a lot.
Yeah. Well, I enjoy the cliffhangers. I always get past it so far. We have seen stuff. It's like I've already seen them. I don't need to see
in a couple episodes, I think that so far we have seen sequences are longer than the actual new footage.
Yeah, which is pretty sad. Also, I filmed each part separately, which in hindsight is a pretty terrible idea. If I did it in the animated series now, I'd film a whole story at once. I'd film all the stuff that takes place in the same background at once because it leads to visual continuity errors that wouldn't exist if I just did more work at once.
Did you film everything? Did you still do everything?
The first few episodes were filmed totally in sequence.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Literally, they were filmed in the order that they were the first scene would be filmed, then the next scene, then the scene after that, etc., etc., etc. And also, I'd film it in a few shifts. Also, which is not a very good idea for a 2-minute cartoon.
Yes.
Anyway, I figured out pretty quickly that was a bad idea. Very quickly, I stopped filming in sequence. I realized this is a very, very, very inefficient way of doing it, and there were really no advantages to filming in sequence. And not long after that, I think it was an exceptionally short episode, and I was like, I might as well just film the whole thing. It won't be that hard. And then after that, I realized, wait a minute, all the episodes are pretty short. I might as well just film all.
Yeah.
Film it all at once. I don't do that for Chef Clownman because the episodes are are reasonably long, but for Chef Meet and Greet, the episodes were so short that it made sense to just film everything at once.
So, yeah. Another thing besides the evolution in terms of his animation and acting and editing and stuff is the...
wait, there's one more thing to me. And I didn't really understand the concept of using a microphone when I started the series, which meant that I put it right by my mouth, and the sound was just so overexposed. It was just awful. You could be the audio was just cringeworthy. It's gonna hurt. It'll hurt your ears so much because you hear that, that sort of staticky sound constantly. We must use anti-meat. And I figured it out by episode probably 20-something that was a terrible idea, so very thankfully that improved.
Yeah. The writing also changes, I think, a bit over time, because the Meet and Greet comics were written over quite, a couple years.
Yeah. Of course, it started in very early 2013, as we mentioned. By the time you're finished watching the series, I believe it's late 2014, which is...
Yes.
Which is a good amount of time, especially when you're young.
So, the writing kind of... I don't want to say it gets better, because I don't know if it really does. The style changes as I was, I guess, getting into other sorts of things. Aftermath is... which we'll get into more later, is a bit... which is the final story arc that we sort of ended in the middle of.
There are more comics written after that.
Yeah. But that is, I feel not all that similar in some ways in terms of the tone to some of the early Meet and Greet stuff, for example.
Meet and Greet started out just being this sort of... It's hard to quite describe what it was back then, because there's nothing quite like it. It was just Chef Meet and Greet fighting crime team. It was about what you'd expect a 4th grader to write. It was really silly and cheesy, but fun.
Yeah.
And then over time, it's it still had a lot of cheesiness, but it almost became a bit more of a conscious cheesiness and a sort of very conscious comedy than it was before, I'd say, for a certain amount of time.
And the problem with that, I found that it doesn't really work like that as well.
Yeah, I feel like it almost went into the opposite direction after that.
You could kind of argue that it's maybe doesn't work the best in some ways to begin with, but...
Right, but I don't think... So then the pendulum sort of shifted in the other direction, and, it's still cheesy, but it was almost made... But by the time of, the Monster Story arc, and especially Aftermath, it almost feels like Meet and Greet was sort of being written as if it was a serious superhero series, as if you're supposed to take the characters and plot seriously.
Yeah, which, is... Yeah. And that's one of the reasons why I prefer the Chef Clownman show in a lot of ways.
Yeah, that's one of the many reasons. There's really nothing that Chef Meet and Greet does better than Chef Clownman.
Yeah, because, I feel in Chef Clownman, it's not afraid, I guess. It doesn't really have the obligation to be a superhero-oriented, so to have, action and stuff.
Right.
at least not in the same way.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So...
I guess since we're just talking about Aftermath, we might as well...
How Aftermath ends. So, we stopped, I believe, after The Help of the Cow Part 2.
Issue/episode 120.
We thought to celebrate, we'd reveal the ending of Aftermath, since right now it doesn't seem all that likely that we'll ever
make it again.
Because in Chef Clown Man, like, his animation has evolved. It's gotten so much better than Help of the Cow Part 2.
Yeah, I just wanted to... Also, as a storyteller, we improved so much.
Yes.
Like, I just don't really think we're in a place where we could do justice to... I don't think we could make meet and greet the way we did it back then, because we've just changed too much as people and as like producers, writers, authors, artists, etc., to be able to pick up where we left off in late 2015.
I agree. So, The Final Helper is the story that comes after The Help of the Cow, and it's sort of the penultimate story. It continues the Second Hood, this mysterious figure, the Second Hood, teaming up with different recurring meet and greet villains. In this one, he teams up with the Meat. The Meat somehow realizes that he's basically been using, as revealed in The Help of the Cow, he's been, like, stealing something from each of the villains for a mysterious reason.
He always seemed like the least intelligent villain the Meat did, so I've always found it sort of weird that the Meat of all villains would be the one who figures that out.
So anyway, I think they kidnap Chef Meet and Greet. And basically that's all part 1 is. Sorry, I'm just seeing the back of the comic of The Final Helper Part 1, which I'm looking at to make sure I get all the details. It has the hood, and it says, the Second Hood, and he says, "It is time to take off the hood." Like, as a teaser, it's trying to be really epic.
Oh.
But anyway, in the second part of The Final Helper, Chef Meet and Greet, like, easily destroys the meat with anti-meat, based on anti-plastic from Doctor Who Rose, the episode Rose.
Yeah. Anti-plastic was a terrible idea, so I have to say the anti-meat is probably a better idea than anti-plastic.
Also, the Sonic Spatula, of course, is based on the Sonic Screwdriver from Doctor Who.
Yeah, very shocking.
And the Meatmobile is the Batmobile.
Shit.
But anyway, back on topic, I could go on all day about how much of a rip-off Chef Meet and Greet is of other things.
Pretty much everything.
Yes.
Pretty much anything you think of, Chef Meet and Greet is ripped off.
So, Chef Meet and Greet unmasks the Second Hood, and shocker, it's Mr. Black. And the Second Hood, so that's how the issue ends. The Second Hood is revealed to be Mr. Black, and he says he's going to take Chef Meet and Greet to the meat planner, who of course is like the mastermind behind everything.
Yeah.
So
he's like that black shadowy figure that you always see in the Aftermath song.
Yeah. It's kind of a lame name, a bad name.
The meat planner?
Yeah.
What did he name it for? The Master Planner?
Yeah.
Which is a name for Doc Ock, right?
Yes, in the classic Master Planner story from issues 31 to 33, I think. But anyway, the meat planner has the chef brought to him. They go to I think it says the prison, but it's supposed to be the insane asylum. Where, and also the Mr. Black claims that the sort of the insane sort of, I guess, version of Mr. Black, who was seen deteriorating in the hospital in, I forget, like the Abyss or whatever.
Yeah.
And he's like in a wheelchair and everything. He says that was just a double.
Oh yeah, I don't quite understand how it looks like just like him.
Yeah. Well, actually, it makes sense. In a sec, it will make sense, sort of. It also won't in some ways.
Right.
But anyway, the meat planner has taken over the asylum. So he sees the meat planner.
Yeah.
Who's like in the shadows of his room where he has all the pictures of the chef. And he says that Chef Meet and Greet is dying because the shot that the Second Hood gave Chef Meet and Greet in, I believe, which Help of the Cow Part 2 has
Is it Mr. Black's poison?
Yeah, Mr. Black's poisoned blood, because the antidote that that he created in Revelation of the Fan.
Yeah, which was revealed in the Terrible, too.
Yeah. That turned Mr. Black insane. This also poisons him, which is getting ahead of myself. but anyway, he reveals that the second hood... Well, okay, first of all, the meat planner is actually Mr. Black.
Oh, yeah.
Which might be... And he's dying because he's poisoned from the antidote, so he injected his poisoned blood into Chef Meet and Greet, which you might be baffled because I said that the second hood was Mr. Black, but actually it's a body double of Mr. Black named Richard.
I don't know how it looks just like Mr. Black.
So he claimed that the meat planner was the body double, but really he's the body double. But it's really very convoluted.
Yeah.
Like, why do you have to have a body double of him anyway?
Where do you get a body double that looks just like you?
This is Richard. So all the stuff that, like the cow blood or the piece of the old god's tentacle or whatever the stuff was that he was collecting from the villains, it turns out that's all to try and create a new antidote that will cure Mr. Black. That will cure Mr. Black. By the way, this is a ripoff of the game Batman Arkham City. Sorry if none of this makes sense to you.
Yeah, it makes about as much sense in content.
Yes. So Mr. Black is actually, of course, still in his wheelchair, and he's still, like, dying and everything.
Yeah. That's like the one part of the plan that isn't true.
And in the cliffhanger, he says, Chef Meet and Greet says, only one of us can survive.
Shit!
So it's, like, supposed to be super epic and stuff. So basically, Mr. Black demands that Chef Meet and Greet hand over the antidote. And Chef Meet and Greet refuses, so he ends up getting in a struggle with Richard, aka the second hood, of course. And Richard, I think somehow it accidentally falls on the ground and it spills, so there's only enough for one of them, and of course the chef gets it.
Yeah.
And out of anger, Mr. Black gets Richard's gun and shoots it and like kills Richard, I guess, out of anger, but as Richard is dying, he kills Mr. Black in revenge. And then Chef Meet and Greet is just able to take back the
Chef Meet and Greet's
asylum.
The antidote in Chef Meet and Greet's hat can apparently cure anything. Why can't he use his antidote to counteract Mr. Black's antidote?
That's what Mr. Black wanted.
Oh, right. Why can't the chef do it for himself? That's what spilled.
That's what he ends up doing.
Sorry, it's a confusing plot.
But it's in Batman Arkham City. I think Batman Arkham Asylum is the video game that comes before that, where the Joker is like poisoned with the Titan toxins or something, whatever that is.
Shit.
But in the next one, I think he injects Batman with his poisoned blood, and like somehow Clayface masquerades as a fake Joker or something. So like,
there's this Clayface in it, not just like some random guy.
So basically, all of it is just. So yeah, basically all of the stuff in Aftermath is copied of Batman Arkham City, which like I'm not even the biggest fan of Batman Arkham City to begin with, so I don't know why I was doing that.
Yeah, but that's what happened.
So there you have it, revealed finally. The ending of Aftermath. I don't know if any of that made sense.
Yeah.
But as he said, it makes about as much sense in context.
It doesn't make sense to me either, so don't worry, guys.
Yeah. So, I was even looking off of the comic to try and help explain it.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's pretty interesting stuff, I guess.
Yeah.
So,
if you can make sense of it.
Yeah, if you can make sense of it. If anyone actually has it all figured out, please let us know in the comments below. Because I wrote it and I have no idea. So
it would help us out if you actually understood what happened.
The issues after Aftermath, like there were a couple of good ones, but mostly more of the same not very good stuff.
Yeah.
Which, I don't know, I just don't really like how, dare I say it, dark Aftermath was trying to be in some ways.
Like, it couldn't possibly be dark, it's Chef Meet and Greet, but it really was trying hard.
Yes. I just don't like that. No. Yeah, so I basically don't do Meet and Greet comics anymore because I feel like I can't really make them good. It's debatable whether they were...
It's almost they were intended to be made by the line of an elementary schooler.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, they were sort of okay when I was in 5th and 6th grade too, but
Yeah.
by that
so Aftermath
point,
came out when you were in 6th.
oh yeah, I guess by
I
that
guess 6th
point,
grade was about when
yeah,
it was deteriorating.
yeah,
isn't
I
it?
think so. So, yeah, I think the last Meet and Greet comic I ever made was actually in 2017. I made part
Yeah.
1 of some story with the meat, but I never made part 2 because I guess was losing interest in it.
Yeah, and so perhaps
I didn't really
the
care.
world will never know what how the cliffhanger will be resolved. I don't even remember what the cliffhanger is, though.
It's probably just really generic, like
Yeah.
the minions trying to kill the
I'm
chef.
just gonna assume since I don't even remember what the cliffhanger is, I'm just gonna assume that he gets out of it by ducking.
Probably, yeah. Either that or like the antidote spills on
Yeah.
him. I love all the tropes in Meet and Greet
Hell
like that.
yeah.
So, we've gone over a lot of stuff now.
Yeah.
Is there anything to talk about besides sort of how it still, I guess, is influencing the channel?
None that comes to mind.
So, if you haven't noticed, Chef Meet and Greet still very much influences our channel.
Yeah.
I mean, he's been the profile picture, some form of him since 2015, I think.
Yeah, so he's sort of the mascot of the channel, and he continues to appear from time to time, too. And in Chef Clownman, he'll regularly make cameos, and we even had a whole episode called Apple Addiction that revolved around them going to Delishopolis and eating at Meet and Greet.
Yeah, because Clownman decides he loves appleberries.
Yeah.
So that's basically a bit of, I guess, that episode could be considered a tribute to the animated
Yeah,
series.
it's definitely a crossover. And anyway, even the Chef Clownman, of course, Chef Clownman show itself would never have happened without Chef Meet and Greet animated series, because that's really where I sort of found my footing as an animator, and once I sort of had a lot of stuff figured out, I was able to begin a much more ambitious series, like both in terms of length and in terms of how much animation I use. And I'm continuing to grow as an animator today because of that.
And I think it's also what really got me started, like, just writing stuff, because I had never really written, like, a long-running series or anything quite to the scope of Meet and Greet.
Yeah.
As stupid as it sounds beforehand. So, like, I think that it's also actually weirdly influenced me a lot. Like, of course, it gave us the characters of Chef Clownman back in the day.
Oh yeah.
So without me doing Chef Meet and Greet, there really would be no Chef Clownman.
Yeah, which is kind of crazy.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, they're both chefs who work at Krusty Krab-like restaurants. There's some similarities.
Yeah.
It's in some ways, I guess, almost like Chef Meet and Greet is a bit of a prototype, and not in every way,
Right.
of Chef Clownman, but
In a way.
I mean, both of them almost always smile.
True.
They're usually generally positive.
Yeah.
That was redundant, but you know. So yeah, I think Chef Meet and Greet has really influenced
60%
yes.
as it is today.
the channel a lot. It wouldn't be the same, and as much as maybe we laugh about the series and stuff, I'm not gonna lie, I'm still pretty grateful for some of the stuff it's given us.
Definitely, and it's still fun if you're in the right mood. Don't expect it to be, like, genuinely unironically good, but if you're bored and you want something to watch, or if you're just interested in the humbler days of our channel, I think it's definitely worth at least giving some of the episodes a try.
Yeah,
And they're very short. They're like between. Some are longer, but most of them are between the 1 and 3 minutes, so it's not like it requires a lot of time commitment.
With a few exceptions, a lot of them are 2-part things, so maybe it would be sacrificing at most 4 minutes.
Yeah.
If you want to get the complete story.
Right. So it's not like it's not like you're not gonna have time to do everything else you want to do because of Chef Meet and Greet.
Yep, there are 120 episodes. Again, we probably aren't gonna make more. I hate to say it, but it seems very unlikely.
Yeah, pretty much impossible. Sorry, guys.
I mean, we're busier than ever now, and Chef Clownman is really a priority.
Definitely.
But definitely keep an eye out for stuff in Chef Clownman that's been influenced by Meet and Greet.
Yeah, and sometimes more direct references. We definitely make him sometimes.
We've even used, like, old backgrounds from
We do that all the time, and a lot of the background characters in Chef Clownman come from Chef Meet and Greet. It's pretty easy to tell, because if they're well drawn, they most likely came from Chef Clownman. If they're badly drawn, they most likely came from Chef Meet and Greet.
Yeah, so basically, Chef Meet and Greet is maybe a bit cringy, a bit not the greatest quality, but there's still some stuff to love about it.
There's still some fun to be had, and there's still a lot of... His legacy is always going to live on as long as our channel survives.
Well said. Alright, that's the perfect thought to end on, I think.
Definitely.
So, if you made it through all of this, good job.
Congratulations, you have a very... you have an above-average attention span.
If you just skip to the end to see what we say at the end, shame on you.
But I don't blame you.
I would do the same thing, though. So, on that note, thanks for watching.
Yeah.
As Chef Meet and Greet would say at the end of his almost all of the comics, see you next time.
Signing off.